Hi Catherine.
Hi Graham, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. So I hear you're on a mission to find out how we're making our airline as sustainable as possible.
Yeah, well, as you know, I'm part of the sustainability team, so I understand that carbon emissions from our aircraft are our biggest environmental priority, but it's interesting to see how that runs through different activities in the business and affects what different teams do. And I remember when we first met, seeing you weighing a toothbrush at your desk, so tell us a little bit more about why you did that.
Part of the reason we need to know how much everything weighs is so that we can actually submit overall aircraft weights to our central load planners, but it's also to remove weight where we can.
And why is it that weight is so important to what you do with the products on board?
Quite simply, the more weight we have on board, the more fuel we burn, so the more carbon we emit to the atmosphere.
And so what are some of the changes and some of the savings that you've made through the work you've done?
The amount of alcohol and drinks that we load where it's a night flight was far too much. A lot of people get on and go straight to sleep, and we've actually reduced the product by 30%.
30%, wow, it's impressive. What else are you doing around products to see how you can reduce the weight?
The purple plastic glass that you get given in economy, we've actually moved from a heavier weight plastic to a more lightweight plastic, and also increased the amount of recycled content within that glass.
And why have we stuck with plastic as the material there?
If we move to a product that can be reused, the weight increases because that product's got to be more durable, and obviously with the weight increasing, our fuel burn increases.
So it's really interesting to hear how much you think about the products that you select to go on board. And it was also great when I met with Lisa to hear about how that gets integrated into her crew procedures as well. When I was on board recently, I was really pleased to hear the PA announcement talking about asking our customers if they would, reuse their plastic cup where possible. So what is it that you're doing on board around sort of recycling and deal with some of these products?
Well, working on board an aircraft's challenging full stop anyway. So we're working in a very confined environment, and there's lack of space, so just collecting in recycling is challenging in itself. Waste on board is very restricted and incredibly regulated. Without getting too technical, they call it Cat 1 waste or Category 1 waste, and by that, anything that's come in contact with meat or dairy products can't be recycled. A little example of that is something like a coffee cup, where you might be able to recycle the cup, but as soon as it's had coffee in it with milk, it's come in contact with dairy, so we can't recycle it. Newspapers and magazines, and also any of the little miniature bottles, whether they're glass or plastic, we can collect those in. The problem we have is as soon as a customer, which they think they're being helpful, pops a pretzel packet, for example, in their aluminium can, that can no longer can be recycled.
So this is a really nice example about how we need both cabin crew and customers to work together.
It's all about understanding, isn't it? So educating the customer, educating the crew. For me, recycling on board is the real first step. I'm really excited we're doing it.
When I spoke to Lisa, it was interesting to hear about the initiatives and the innovations, and I know that you work with M&H Sustainable Cabin Services.
M&H are a really key partner for us. We've worked with them for a number of years now.
So, Matt, thanks for adding to my outfit with this lovely high-vis jacket. Why am I here stood in front of a load of rubbish?
So this has been offloaded from the truck that's been to the airport. We're then looking at segregating waste out. So really it's about physically sorting the waste into the different component parts. So headsets will separate out pristine items that can go straight back to the airport. And then we're looking at refurbishing the headsets that have been used. And the process really for that is untangling them. It's about sanitizing them, testing them, repackaging them. Headsets will typically last between 10 and 20 times. After that, we're then into secondary usage.
And what do you mean by secondary use?
We're looking to see how we can reclaim the copper and we can make the plastic back into plastic pellets. So a plastic pellet might end up as a picnic bench. Things like pillows and cushions, they'll go off to a pet bedding company, so nothing goes into the ground.
There are other ways that we've worked together around the headsets, aren't there? In particular, when we were looking at the plastic wrapping for the headsets.
So we looked at re-engineering the three items. That's the headset itself, the charity envelope and the polythene bag. And by re-engineering the charity envelope, we could actually reduce and get rid of the polythene bag in its entirety. And we saved a hell of a lot of polythene.
With M&H and all of our third-party suppliers, we really encourage them to come to us with ideas of how we can do things better, both on board and on the ground.
I think all of us in our everyday lives, we're looking at ways in which we can change our behaviour, how we can reduce the waste that we produce. And so it's great that people are bringing that ethos to work with them.
Yeah, and just because we're at 38,000 feet doesn't mean that we can't make a difference.